Hello, my name is Ilona and today is Thursday, February 9th, 2023. And a lot of things are coming out. Investigative journalist Seymour Hersh came out with that the United States blew up the Nord Stream pipelines. They were trying to make it seem like Russia was behind this, but he has investigated this and he came out that actually the White House was behind this. And it was a secret operation by a certain agency that starts with a C, that has at the end an A and an I in between there. And they were the ones that actually blew up the pipeline. So it's very interesting, and this is not helping Mr. B's case. But let's face it, especially after that State of the Union and what's been going on with the balloon and things like that, it is very chaotic over there. Other things that are coming out now are Twitter files. Very interesting. I already shared yesterday a clip, I think Marjorie Taylor Greene, talking to these big tech executives there that were, they had to answer questions why they banned her account, but they left all these things about children on there. Very interesting, of course, so those things are coming out. I shared a clip this morning from Clay Higgins. I think he's the one leading the team. I'm not so sure about it. This is an oversight committee. And he asked if these big tech execs had guidance, legal guidance, because this is an investigation, but the investigation will have consequences. So things are coming out about the laptop, about the suppression of information. Very interesting this morning. I also shared, and I thought that was one of the most important things. Congresswoman Nancy Mace announced she was injured by stings and shamed the big tech execs who hid the truth about dissenting opinions from medical professions who were always concerned about the safety and the efficacy of the stings. Actually asking the execs there if they have a medical education and why they think they had the right to suppress opinions from doctors from Stanford and Harvard, and why they think that they had a better understanding of what was going on. And they really didn't have a very, how do you say this, clear answer on that, why they thought they had that right. Because obviously this is all a narrative, and now the narrative has been falling apart for a long time now. But this is very important. So I looked at the Twitter files. I shoveled the cards in my Dutch video, but I looked at the Twitter files and the cards I got. The first card is the Page of Swords. The central card is the Seven of Pentacles. In the past we have the Three of Wands. Underneath the Seven of Pentacles, we have the Ten of Pentacles. We have the Five of Pentacles for the near future, and two cards came out, and those are the Two of Swords and the Queen of Wands. So to me, this feels like a white hat operation. This is really coming out. I also saw yesterday that apparently there was a blackout there as well, and they were live streaming this, if I'm not mistaken. And that feed was cut off. So everything around surrounding the Twitter file. So there was probably an attempt from the other side to try to get rid of this evidence. But let's face it, it's not going to work. This is about showing people and letting people know the truth, what's been going on about the laptop, about what happened in 2020 in November, about the suppression of things, about misinformation. How does that work? How do you control people through information? And what do you show people? How do you change narratives? It's very interesting. This is all coming out right now. But there needs to be more patience. I think more and more things are going to come out from the Twitter files. I do think they are important. This is about showing the old system and creating a new system of balance. What's been going on, how they've suppressed things, information's being purposely disregarded, that didn't fit their narrative. And this is about being left out in the cold. So I do believe the big tech executives and those companies will be left out in the cold. But also the people that have been watching this, they're now seeing things like, so this is what they've been doing, and maybe even understanding how that works. they will feel left out. So this media that's supposed to be objective, is supposed to be telling you the truth, isn't telling you the truth at all. And all these social media, there is, they are watching it. They are having agendas there. And I think it's very important that a lot of people are going to be feeling like they're left out in the cold. So this is not only for the big tech companies. I think they're going to be left out in the cold. Those the people that are now answering those questions there, the big tech. And I think that it's very the execs. Yes, I'm sorry. Am I pronouncing this correctly? But the people that are there answering the questions for the big tech companies who were in charge of that company at the time, they have to answer some questions. And they will really need some legal assistance, because I don't think they're going to get away with it at all. But this is a white hat operation, and this is about showing people so they can really connect with their intuition, like starting to see things, starting to get rid of this blindfold. Of course, it's up to every one of us and everyone around, of course, in America, but just worldwide, because this is getting in a way, of course, on the alternative or the independent media, a lot of attention. Unfortunately, they're trying to suppress it in America, but I think this is going to come out because, on Twitter, things are being shared. They won't be able to hide this for very long, and it wouldn't surprise me if Fox News are going to pay attention to this as well. But right now, the Twitter files they're trying to suppress it, and it's not going to happen. So this will probably take some time, but especially in the independent media, everyone is paying attention to this, and this will lead to more things. We will have to be patient, but this will come out in the media. I really feel like people will feel completely left out, and that the media isn't so independent and objective as they like to portray themselves. But this is a white hat operation. And this is really about people realizing to trust their intuition. What is really true? Discernment. It is so important. We are in an information war. So a lot of things that are coming out, they're twisted, manipulated, narratives. Very important that we trust ourselves and trust our intuition. What feels right to us, what doesn't make any sense. So this is the Twitter files. More is going to come out. It will take some time. And of course, they're trying to ignore it in the mainstream media. But things are going to come out. I saw Joe Rogan already paying attention to this as well. Talking about this. And let's face it, a lot of people are looking at like Joe Rogan, and other things will come out. And of course, on Twitter, things are being shared because Elon is now there and it's not being suppressed anymore, though. Things are going to come out about the Twitter files, but this is very important. It will take some time, but it will wake up people and show them what's been going on all this time, and how does that even work? This disinformation. How does it work? Having a narrative and trying to push your narrative. So that's the information I got from the Twitter files. And the second thing I looked at, there were people sending me articles and from people that have a completely different perspective, and that's fine with me, but I'm not really going to take a look at that. I think it's pretty clear where I stand and how I view things. Of course, this is how I view things, so always see for yourself if it resonates with you or not. Very important. So if you read articles and it's upsetting you, always look inside of yourself. First of all, what is triggering, what's triggering you, that's shadow work, and then decide if you want to, if this fits with you, if you want to keep reading articles like this. It's up to you to make that decision. So I have to rethink a little bit what my question was, but it's more about the dark energies and where do they stand right now. There's a lot of things now coming up that the dark energies and the white hats, they're all one thing, and we're just leading from one jail, so to speak, to another one, and really nothing is changing. It's really, to me, it feels like dragging the energy, bringing down the energy. If people have hope, it's kind of crushing that. I was also asked in a mail about the dark energies that apparently This person mentioned, well, they are very smart, they can adapt, so maybe they just change plans and use another way to bring in people. And I already mentioned this before. Their ultimate plan is transhumanism. So this is about creating like that we ultimately will become robots and we don't have anything to say. But by doing so, they're cutting off our connection to source, to God as well, essentially. That's their issue. That's why they need other beings to live off, because they don't have the energy themselves. They've cut themselves off, source of God. And so by creating us and making us in some kind of robot, they're cutting off us as well. So they won't have any supply left then as well. Ultimately, I don't think that's a very brilliant idea, really. Because if they do what they think they're going to do with us, what they wanted, what they had planned, it won't take very long. They won't have any energy left because they'll be cutting off humanity of source as well. That's their intention. It's not going to happen, but that's what they wanted to do. Then they'll need to find other beings for energy. It's not a brilliant plan to me. So I'm not so sure if they're that intelligent. I do think they have a lot of technology. They do understand spiritual law. They understand programming. They understand how it works with energy and with frequency till a certain level. And that's what they're using against us. That's what they're using against humanity. But I don't see them as very adaptable. It's almost like if you just look at, they're using the same trick over and over and over again. And once you see it, you can just see the pattern. It's not like they're going to change. If they were really that adaptable, they would change the pattern. So to me, this doesn't feel like, how do you say that they are that intelligent, or at least capable of adapting. It's almost like they're stuck in their ways. And I also want to emphasize that it's important that, especially when there are perspectives like, well, we're just going from one situation to another, and someone else is just going to take over, and they just using, for instance, the white hats for that. I don't see the white hats like that at all. I see them as balanced. I don't see them as the other end of light. I've already explained this, I think, a couple of weeks ago, how I view the white hat. So to me, it's balance, and it's about bringing back balance. The dark energy are completely out of balance, and if it's just light, that's out of balance as well. It's about bringing it together. That's why I emphasize shadow work. Work with your energy. If we are balanced, no one else is going to take away our energy. If we are connected to God, to source, and fully in our strength, no one can manipulate us. So it doesn't really ultimately matter if they have other plans, or if maybe somewhere something else is going to come in, because we won't be able to be manipulated. And like I said before, I don't see the white hats like that. They feel like a completely different energy. They feel like balance. They're trying to help us regain our balance. And this is really about the great awakening in ourselves. So that's why I want to emphasize that, and especially in different perspectives, there is almost like they see us still as puppets. And I have to say, it feels like just draining the energy if I read articles like that. So it doesn't resonate with me. But I actually looked just at the dark energies, where they're at, what is going on there. And this was very interesting. The first card I got was the Seven of Swords. The central card, this is very interesting. I have the Knight of Wands, and I have the Ten of Cups in the past, the Six of Wands in underneath the central card, and the Ace of Swords and the Page of Pentacles for the future, near future. To me, feels like the white hats have pretty much taken over the dark energies. I don't think there are a lot left anymore. Doesn't mean that they cannot create or still create damage, or create chaos in a way, but not at the scale they once had that power. I think the white hats really have a victory. I don't think there's a lot left of them. They're still trying to get away with things, but there's not much they can do anymore. They probably still have some things, some up their sleeve, but that's about it. I truly believe that the white hats have taken over, and they're not, how do you say that? It's almost like they're not there in anymore. There are not many left of them. That's the feeling I'm getting. It doesn't take long before they're completely gone and the energy is gone. And I do believe that the white hats in a way are using still some of that energy to wake up people, to show them, of course, very important. But still, I think most of the dark energies are pretty much gone. That's the feeling I'm getting. This is a new start, a new truth coming out. That's what the Ace of Swords is about, truth, communication. This is like a new chance for creating something completely new, the Page of Pentacles, some new world that we want. And that's what it feels like. It doesn't feel like the dark energy, there's a lot left and they have a lot of power. It doesn't feel like to me like that at all. It's like slipping away. They're still trying, but they're not going anywhere. Like I've mentioned before, we need to emphasize the responsibility in ourselves, so we're not depending on things outside of ourselves. That's why I'm not afraid of at all that there's going to be a new ruler or they're going to take over in another way, because that's what I'm allowing ultimately. And every one of us, it's up to our energy in which timeline ultimately we will end up with. That will be determined by our frequency. So if we raise our frequency, if we start creating with consciously, things will change and someone else won't be able to use our energy for other things. So, and like I've mentioned, the dark energies need our energy because they don't have that energy. They need to live off other people's energy, in this case humanity. So if we make sure that we use our energy for ourselves, really, they have to go. And ultimately, I don't think there's a lot left of them. They're going to starve. So it doesn't really matter in what shape they'll come back. We are the ones to decide. It's really that important. I just want to emphasize that. Really to step into our power. That's what the Great Awakening is about. We connect with God. We connect with Source. We will become so powerful. We don't have to be afraid to be manipulated in any way, or afraid that we'll end up in another sort of prison kind of thing that will be connected in some other matrix or things like that. We won't have to be afraid of that. So I just want to leave it at this and hope to see you in another video. Bye.